cut me off. Due to her stepdad adding more chores to her list. So the chores that she gives her for the day doesn't get completed on time. So she's struggling with trying to make her stepdad understand he needs to let her get the stuff I give her done before adding more. And it's very stressful. Sounds like you have a stepdad problem, not a daughter problem. Like not your stepdad, but your partner's. You have a partner problem, not a daughter problem. Tell him to back off. So, yeah, she says, plus, she says she's found out that her A1C is quite high. Ooh. And she's had to now start taking medicine for it. She's also trying to find a doctor to help her with her arthritis in her knee and her hip. Sounds like you have got it all going on. She said, so it's been pretty stressful there as well. She said the best thing, she says, out of this is being able to watch and listen to the videos and watch the progress of the painting. She says to see how beautiful they become. She says, plus your voice. Oh, it's got a rogue diamond. She says, plus your voice makes it where she's able to calm down and relax. Oh, bless you. She says she's also trying to do a 30 by 40 painting with purple flowers and butterflies for the June Waffle. And she'll try and post a picture in the group this week. Well, I hope things are getting better for you. That comment was left on the 11th. So here's hoping things have calmed down. And yeah, things have just, you know, got realizations have happened in your house, and yeah, things are going on a more even keel. Hopefully. I'm crossing fingers and toes for you. Warm and sweaty fingers and toes, but fingers and toes. She says, sorry for the super extra long post, she says, and thank you for your videos, and she can't wait for tomorrow's. Oh, bless you. Sounds like you just needed to get that all off your chest as well. But yeah, sometimes you do just need to, especially when it is super stressful. And you've just got multiple different things going on. It's like you can deal with one thing, but you can't deal with them all. It can just become a bit OTT, bit too much. Oops, 2 more up there. Right, I think I can finally move my easel down and feel safe that I'm not cutting you guys off from anything. Excuse me. Right, I'm just kicking my shoes off again because it's too warm for that. Too warm for shoes. Jerry, she says, hi Rebecca and Zesties. She says, regarding school in the US, she says when she was in school, she says so long ago for us all, my dear, or for most of us, should I say. There are some still at school. For many of us. She said they would break up in June and go back in September. That sounds like a nice, decent length of time. She says now school usually breaks in May and they go back to school in early August. She says again, she says when she went to school, they went full days, Monday through to Friday. She says now, at least where her girls went to school, she says every Wednesday is a minimum day. What's a minimum day? She says they also start school later in the morning. Are we saying they've got a cushy life? Because it's certainly sounding like they have. You've got it easy going. She says she lives right down the road from a school, and she said she ends up right in the middle of school traffic since she does not have to be in work until 9, and she leaves her house no later than 8:15. My mother-in-law used to live on a road. It actually had, she was a road just off from the schools, but there was 3 schools. There was an infant school, which is probably your kindergarten, basically from ages 4 to 11. No, not 4 to 11. 4 to 7, maybe. So an infant school 4 till 7, ages 4 till 7. Then there was a junior school, which is like 7, 8 up until 11. They were 11 when they left. They were 10 when they started their last year there. And then the high school, which was age 11 through to 16. So yeah, I don't know what they equate to in US, but yeah, my mother-in-law lived off the road that the schools were on, all 3 of them lined up one after the other. It was a long road, but she lived on one of the roads off there, and there was just no point in trying to go to her house at any point between like 3 and 4 probably, because I think some of the schools kicked out at 3 or just before 3, and then I think that was the high school, and then I think the junior school kicked out at 3:30. Infants, I'm not sure the exact time the infants kicked out. The high school was actually the high school I went to, and my sister went to the junior school there, so that's the only reason I know those times. But yeah, it was, yeah, you just did not, you were still basically watching the clock for school time, but just for the basis of being able to leave her house or make sure that you could get back to her house and park on her drive. It's not fun. Some schools are better than others, but there was just too many schools in a short space there. In fact, they're still there. So yeah, definitely a bit different. Right, I think I've got that lot done. So let's do this letter H before I forget that one. Stretching over. I've also got it over here. Mops the tops. She says, well. She says, if she looks like a hobbit in spring, she says, then she definitely was a witch after months of pneumonia. She said, plucking her face was the last thing on her mind. Not surprised at all. I do actually get, when I get my legs lasered and my underarms lasered, I do actually get, she's actually doing a little bit of my face as well, which I'm all for. I'm all for not having to mess about with any unwanted hair. Thank you very much. She says some of the hairs, she says, are like fuse wire. I know that feeling. She says, and hurt when pressed in. She says she did look a sight for sore eyes. Bless you. She says, great waffle, by the way. I love the fact that we can all laugh at things like that and know exactly what you mean, my dear. It is this one thing that us women seem to suffer, is it not? Amy, she says, she says, well, it is a tip. So this is when I said we've taken stuff to the tip and then changed it because it's now called the recycling centre. She says, as they used to sell things, she says that's more recycling. She says, She says she's running behind. Because that was a comment on the 6th of June Waffle. Yeah, I mean, it's more of a recycling centre in the fact that there is different, like huge dumpster things for different sections. So quite often we're getting rid of a lot of cardboard, like when putting IKEA furniture together. So that can all go in the cardboard part, whereas when it did just used to be a tip, it just all went in one place. Whereas now it's actually sorted out more so than our household waste is, because we just have, we have 3 bins for our household waste. We have general waste, then we have recycling, which is mixed recycling. So your milk bottles, your cardboard, your foil, whatever else, all that sort of stuff all goes together. And then it gets sorted later. And then we have a green bin for garden waste. Whereas when we go to the recycling centre, you actually have to sort it into each bin or place, depending on what it is. Or there's like clothes banks there as well for clothes and shoes and other things. Monique says, hi Rebecca. She says she wishes me a great day. Thank you, Monique. Margaret, she says, hi Rebecca. She says these people should be billed for what they have done to everybody. And that's in relation to the water. Our water that was turned off. It may well be that they do get a bill, to be fair. How much of a bill? I don't know, because it did end up going back to the mains before it was fixed. Whether they would get charged all the way back to the mains or not, I don't know. But we didn't have any problems until they decided to mess with the water. So, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they did end up with a bit of a bill. It's more annoying that they potentially haven't even thought to apologise for what they've done, or even just anything to acknowledge what they've done. I don't even know if they know how many days delay and faffing about that it caused, to be honest. But it's done now. Our water pressure is back to what it should be, to what we call normal. So all is right with the world, especially the amount of showers that I had in this house, even more so in this heat. Busy Lizzie said she would have gone down there personally to ask them why they decided to turn it off. It was very tempting. Hubby was also very tempted when we did find out what it was that actually caused it all to go off. But I don't even know, I don't think they've actually even moved in yet. So getting hold of them would potentially be a pain. And then the question is, if we go round going, what on earth, do you realise what on earth you've done? It's how much potential problems that could cause in the future. So I'm just glad it's fixed now. And bar that one period of time where we didn't end up with, where we had no water, and United Utilities, who's our water board for this area, they were super quick in coming out from that point. From the point we had no water, I mean, they were already going to be there within a couple of days for low pressure, but they were out within hours when we had no water. So in that sense, I really can't fault them for at least finding out what was going on and getting us water. Marsha says, I agree. She said they should learn to check with the neighbours first. She says to warn them that their water might be affected. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there is actually a stop for the water for their house before they get to our house. So why they have even come all the way around here, I have got no idea. It seems like, I'd say, I don't even know if it was them or a contractor that, you know, not a contractor as such, but a plumber that they've had out. We don't have so much contractors. That's me picking up on American lingo. So yeah, anyway, it's one of those. I'm kind of hoping that they get a bill. I'm kind of hoping that it is enough to be an inconvenience, but not enough to ruin their lives for years. And hopefully they will learn from it. That would be the best thing. But yeah, if it ever happened again, believe me, they would get an earful if they can't learn from a mistake the first time. Busy Lizzie, she says, oh my goodness, she says she commends me on how calm I was. She says, because if that happened in our house, she said she would be fuming and cursing like crazy. To be honest, it was one of those days where it was an absolutely manic day. Lots and lots of little bits needed doing. I really didn't need to be on the phone to the water board. But it had also got, I think it had reached that sort of point where, you know, when it just gets, you get resigned. That's the word I wanted. When you just end up being resigned to the fact that it's gone pear-shaped. That was the point I was at. And I think just because I was resigned that the whole thing had just gone pear-shaped, I just got past the point of being angry. And as I say, they did come out super, super quick once we had no water whatsoever. The water board were out really quick and at least got us water. She says she'd be down there telling them off, probably getting herself into trouble, because she can't stand people who think they're better than everyone else, or people who think it's only them in the world. She says they infuriate me. She says she praises you. She said because she could not be this calm and collected. Oh, bless you. To be fair, that is, I mean, a lot of the time that can be the way I am. I have mellowed out quite a bit more the older I've got. But I say, it was one of those days, there was just one thing after another, little tiny things that I think I'd just got to the point of, oh, whatever. What will be, what will be. At the end of the day, there was water in my coffee machine. Enough said. I could survive. I could survive, and they were out, I say, with it, probably even within an hour. The part of the days are a little bit of a blur. So actually knowing exactly how long they took, they physically took, is a little bit hard, but they were super quick. They were here before hubby was home from work and potentially picking up bottled water for us. So it's all good. It's all good. Right. I do appreciate the passion for it though, Lizzie. If it had got me on another day, or maybe a different week in the month, it might have been a different story. But anyway, we have finished that bottom section of the painting, so we'll be going up here tomorrow. But I did say I was going to show you the beginning part of my quilt, so I don't do things easy. If anybody can see this is one section of the quilt. Yeah, I don't do things by halves. So I definitely have some corners that don't quite line up right, though I am pretty proud of how most of them are lining up. And I think once it's quilted and a bit more ruffled, it will be even better. It's not all pressed down yet. I haven't pressed this last seam, but this afternoon I did actually start putting rows of 3s together, and there is a block of 9, so there's 9 patterns, a block of 9. While they do go dark, medium, light, it's the way we've sort of done it, and I love that look because this is repeated multiple times. Catherine actually worked out, is this the full? Yeah, so this is 3 sections of 9, and there is another 2 rows of 9, and Catherine has worked it out so that they are all touching different ones, and the row of 9 across is different, has one of each on as well. So she's done a whole load of jiggery pokery. So sometimes this pattern will be next to this pattern, but if it is in that block of 9, it will not have this pattern next to it. It would have one of the other paler ones. But anyway, yes, that is one of my panels of my quilt. And I've been eager beavering away. So I do need to cut a load more of these triangles because there is 2 fabrics that I ditched. And after doing my sample ones, I didn't do any more of. But yeah, this is probably what you'll find me doing for the next couple of days. I've also started on a much simpler design for Catherine, which is in really, really bright colours, bright funky colours with white. I'm actually looking at that one against that one now and thinking, do I unpick it and move it over? It's one of my not quite square squares. I'll stop looking at it and then I might leave it alone. But yeah, I've also started, I need to do some more cutting for it, which is what's made me stop. But that's one that potentially will come together a whole lot quicker because it is in no way 3 pieces that will only make a finished 3-inch square. These are more bigger blocks. So we'll see which one I get sort of finished to a quilt top first. But yeah, that's one of my updates. I can't really show you Catherine's the same just because I haven't put as many together. But it's a Queen's quilt pattern. So it basically has a white panel that will end up being 2 inches by 4.5 inches, I think. So it's a white, and then there's a red, a white, a red, and then there's a white, an orange, a white, an orange, a white, and it goes through 6 different bright colours. And yeah, she actually wants them sort of staggered a little bit, so there's a bit of a diagonal pattern. So when that gets to the point that I can sort of, it's actually together. At the minute, it's just in, I've not done all of them, but there's basically a few blocks that have got white, red, and that's it. And that's all I've done with those so far. I've not yet got to the point that I can connect them. But that one is one that, apart from needing to cut more white, because I wasn't sure if I was doing a quilt for Catherine or a baby quilt, so I only cut for the baby quilt. Yeah, so apart from needing to do more cutting, that one actually goes together quite quickly. This one is more complicated, but this has given me some really good practice with sewing, which is what I'm enjoying. So anyway, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you all so much for watching and for joining me for the waffle and lots of waffling today. Don't forget to go and enter the giveaway. Password is summer. It is available. The giveaway tab is up there on the website even as I'm filming. So we'll see if I end up with any questions about the password before this video goes live. But yeah, all the best to everybody that enters, and I'll speak to you all again tomorrow. Hi and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca. Happy 26th of June, everybody. So we are on a slightly larger section today. The last bit, oh look, we've got a rogue drill that's decided to find its way between the cover papers. Let's not fight with you. I think I even missed the bin. It's on my floor. It'll all be fine. Yeah, I'm filming this later on, quite late on in the evening today, because the UK is having a bit of a mini heat wave. And yeah, I just, this afternoon, which is, I've normally been filming them sort of the afternoon before they need to go up. And this afternoon, I was like, nah, this is not happening. I am not filming in this heat. We've got the aircon set up now in the conservatory, so all that is loads better. But having said that, after a little while of being in here, it can get rather warm. I think it had it 27, 28 degrees in the conservatory, because it did take us most of the afternoon to get the aircon. We needed to get an extra pipe for the aircon so that it could actually reach out of the window. Goodness knows where our other one went. I've got a feeling it got trashed at some point during some work that we were having done at the end of last year, so we had to nip out and get an sort of extension. Hang on, I'm having a moment, just trying to pick up my diamonds, you know. Yeah, I've got a feeling that it got damaged at some point during some work at the end of last year, and it's one of those where you're like, oh, we don't need it, we'll get another one before next year. And then of course the next year happens and you're like, we did not get said piece of aircon hose sorted out, did we now? Anyway, it'll all figure itself out, will it not? So yeah, I've decided to primarily take it easy this week. I think I've just decided that today with the heat. Plus, I have found out that hopefully customs, you know, agreeing, we should have the last of our Advent items, which is it's got an Advent items, and it's got quite a bit for some stock things. Yeah, that should hopefully, this is what they're saying at the moment, but bear in mind British Customs could not agree. It should be here next week, beginning of next week, which of course is one of a busy time at Add More Zest anyway, because it's the business end of year, so there's a lot of admin-y stuff going on. But yeah, so it looks like I will be extremely busy from then. So I thought to myself a couple of hours ago, I was like, do you know what? I am going to take it as a little bit more of a lazy week this week. I keep trying to prep things for this big delivery turning up, and you know when you can sort of get part of something done but not all of it done? It's like you're doing a little bit but you can't actually finish any job because you're waiting on said delivery to turn up. Well, it's been driving me batty, especially with this heat. It doesn't help. So yeah, so I've decided, do you know what? I'm not fighting against getting little bits done now. I will wait until the delivery arrives and just deal with it all then. I am much more likely to be motivated to go gung-ho when everything's here and I can get it finished. So it may involve longer days, sometimes working in the evening. So I'm going to take my time now and just have a lazier week while it's so hot. Still, of course, going to pack orders, any stock that needs filling up for standard stock for the shop so that you guys can order stuff. The printers will still be going. All that sort of stuff will still be happening. I'm just going to slow down on the other stuff. So it might give me an extra hour or so each day to do something else. And yeah, it'll get paid back tenfold once this delivery arrives. So yeah, I think I said in my last Whip and Waffle that the plan was that I would do some quilting. Hang on, I managed to get a hair caught in this pen. I will do some quilting primarily at the weekend, sort of like a weekend project. Well, that kind of hasn't happened. I think because it's new. I think once I've, potentially got a quilt made, then I'll definitely be happy, mixing things up. But at the moment it's very fresh and it's very new. So yeah, last night I did a bit of quilting. Well, not actually the quilting part yet, the making of the top of the quilt I did. I also actually did some this afternoon because I was going to do some this evening, but I knew I'd need to film this as soon as it had cooled down. So I thought, let's just switch the day. Plus, Catherine was helping me plan out my design for the quilt. In fact, she worked at it for a good hour or so, getting it so that it looked random but also wasn't random. So yeah, she's planned it all out for me so that all my patterns are nice and spread out, but yeah, looking good. I do actually have a piece of it in here with me so that I can show you, because I know a few people have put comments that they do want to see where I'm up to with my quilting. So I will show you guys that in a bit, and you can see sort of some of it. Some of the quilt. I do need to do some more cutting, which I knew I would. We did a huge batch of cutting for my, let's call it triangle quilt. We did a batch of cutting when me and Caris were both doing a triangle quilt. However, we did decide to not do all of the patterns that we got. We just did like a certain amount of the patterns that we got so that we could then spread it out and decide what we wanted to do. Sort of our mock-up, do a mini mock-up of a quilt, so that we could visualise it and see it properly. And it's a good job we did, because there was a couple of materials, a couple of patterns that didn't make it in to my quilt. One pattern didn't make it in because I just wasn't liking the look of it with the rest. And the other one actually didn't make it in because even though it was in a fat quarter bundle, it was a very stretchy fabric. And it kept getting distorted and pulled greatly out of shape. So being a new quilter, I ain't fighting with that. So it got ditched. It got ditched from the quilt. And yeah, it ended up working out really well. And yeah, Catherine messed with the design for me today. So I'm really happy with sort of the layout, and because she's done that sorting out for me today, I now have the plan of what it is that I need to do, what it is I can do, my final count for what it is that I need to cut and all that jazz, which means I can just keep going rather than having stages where I have to pause and figure things out. So yeah, this is my diamond painting for the month of June. I haven't done any other. It's been far too warm. For some reason I can sit and sew, but sitting and diamond painting in this heat at the moment, it just doesn't tickle my pickle, should we say. Just the thought of sitting there and doing that, as I say, it's probably because quilting is brand new to me. As soon as I've finished a quilt top, and you know, waiting for my next lesson and get it to the point of being able to quilt it, as soon as I get to that point and I've done one, while I don't necessarily think it's going to be one and done for me, because I've already started planning out another one for Catherine, I think it'll slow down and I'll be happy with it slowing down. You know, just until inspiration strikes, maybe with, you know, a design that I see that I want to do, or somebody that I decide I want to be able to give a quilt to, or something like that. Something will trigger me, and I'll be excited to do one, but otherwise I'll end up, you know, mixing things up and going back to getting some diamond paintings done. Plus this delivery, when this delivery turns up, one, that will keep me very busy, and second, I think there's a few in there that there's a couple of things in there that I'm rather excited to mess about with, some of which you will see soon enough. So yeah, I think that's the updates on that front, on sort of what our life is at the moment. It is far too warm for my liking, is the short and the long of it. It is extremely warm, and yeah, I'm just going to take it easy for this next week before it is full steam ahead for me pretty much as soon as June Waffle finishes. It will be gung-ho. In other news though, I do have one more piece of news. I thank you all ever so greatly for your patience and for not asking 20 questions over it constantly, but the giveaway is ready. Probably quite a few of you are probably thinking it wasn't going to happen. I did not expect it to be the 26th before it was announced. That is my bad. That is me trying to do, I say, too many little jobs that aren't quite getting completed, therefore they aren't getting marked off my to-do list, and actually not focusing on things that can be knocked off my to-do list. I think I've had visions for quite a while. This shipment sort of could have turned up at any point, and I think I've sort of got myself on a major focus that if it turned up during June Waffle, I'd need as much prepped as possible. I think now that we are close to the end of June Waffle, don't worry, we have another 4 days after this, but now we are closer towards the end. I think I'm now at the stage where even if by some weird twist of fate, not that I expect, but by some weird twist of fate, if it were to turn up tomorrow, I would be fine. Like, you know, I have reached that point now where it's like, okay, I am, you know, pedaling like crazy underwater and not actually getting anywhere. So I am just going to wait until it arrives. And then I can do things in the order that makes my brain happy. And in the right way for me, which is actually getting a task completed. Which means I need the items here. So, yes. So because of that, anyway, I finally sorted out the giveaway, or at least partly sorted out the giveaway. I do have a pile of diamond paintings from higher end companies for the giveaway. I also have, do you remember the storage cases I used for my Heaven and Earth design? So they are 60 bottle cases. They are plain black with different coloured zips. So it's a 60 bottle storage case. I also have multiples of those. I have 4 of them from Heaven and Earth Design Project. So while they have been used, they are still in perfect condition for somebody else, so I'm going to throw those in the giveaway as well as the paintings. So I haven't yet put up a list of what the prizes are, but I do have the giveaway page open, which means you can enter. So to enter the giveaway, which to note, it is available to worldwide. There is no cost to enter, and the winners will just be randomly generated. It's actually Megan who does it. She does a number generator and pulls the winners from that. And then we will contact by email, probably at the beginning of July. Sometime at the beginning of July, we will contact the winners by email. So do keep an eye out on both your email and check your spam and your junk folders in case it ends up in there. And we will contact the winners for their address. And we'll let you, of course, know what you've won. I will do a page similar to December where I put the items that are in the giveaway, and then I'll put the names of the winners, or at least the surnames of the winners, not like full details. So anyway, yes, if you go to admiralzest.com, which is my website, it is linked in the video description. If you're on a mobile, click on the 3 little lines on the right hand side and there'll be a tab named giveaway. If you're on a desktop, you'll just see it across the top. It'll just say giveaway, and it will ask you for a password. So the password for this year's giveaway is summer, all lowercase. So SUMMER. Pop that password in and then you'll be able to enter your details for the giveaway. There's all written stuff there. Just confirming we're not using your details for anything else. You're not signing up to any email lists, anything like that. It is purely for the giveaway. As soon as the winners have been drawn and contacted, we do get rid of the information. We do not keep it. There's also rules about only entering once because, let's be fair to everybody, we're a lovely community. Yeah, like we do tend to, we can tell if somebody's accidentally, you know, maybe clicked on the form twice, not realising if it's entered or not. We do know the difference between somebody doing that and therefore we just get rid of their duplicate entry. And we do know the difference when somebody decides to go on the giveaway tab and enter every single day, which has happened. And that will actually decrease your chances of winning. So do not go on and enter every day. It is 1 entry per person. And yeah, it'll be drawn in June. And I will share the love of some of the paintings that have been unboxed on my channel at some point from the higher end companies. There'll also be an Add More Zest prize or two in there as well, but I say I will try and get the list up. I'll get the list up at some point. Let's not say I'll try and do it by X date, because it all depends on this weather. I can't think when it's too hot. I just can't think straight. And I potentially, would make a mistake when it comes to the giveaway. So I would much rather take a couple of days to make sure that I've pulled everything into one place and take my time to write my list and pop it up than disappoint anybody if a prize was listed up there and then disappeared. So yeah. So you could say it's been a little bit productive today if the June giveaway's up. We'll ignore the fact that it's actually Megan that gets the page ready. And I finally browbeat her today, going, don't forget, because I think the last time I mentioned it to her was probably over a month ago. And I was like, it's fine, we'll sort it when I get back from my trip away and we'll get it all organised. And then we promptly both didn't get around to actually doing it for a while. So apologies, but I do very greatly appreciate the fact that I have not had 50 emails asking where this giveaway is or isn't. Okay, you've had 22 minutes of me waffling so far. So let's see if I can read through some of these comments. These comments might last me the rest of this year. No, they won't. They won't last me the rest of this year. They just may last me a while until I am fully caught up on all comments left on all videos. Anyway, the Dark Light, she says she believes that either Emerald and Fairy Lights or Diamonds and Washi actually did a round versus square of Diamond Art Club. So Diamond Art Club's own brand. The only difference was size. So they're exactly the same design, charting, colours, etc. Same number of drills, same ABs, etc. But of course the square is smaller than the rounds. So very similar to our 12-in-1 painting that we did last December, for December Advent last year. We offered exactly the same design in round and in square, and the round one was slightly bigger than the square one, but everything else was the same. So in that case, there's not going to be a huge difference between the two. And to be honest, it's probably not worth me spending Diamond Art Club prices on two of the same painting when they're both going to look the same apart from the size. So thank you so much for clarifying that for me, because that saves me that little cost. Jan, she says, hi Rebecca. She says the painting is looking fantastic. Thank you. Oh, just found some I've missed. Let's dump that pen and do them while we're at it. She says she always remembers the saying, blue and green should not be seen unless a colour in between. Yes, that is the phrase that I remember. I knew there was one, I just could not remember the tail end of it. She says, but she does love those colours together. Yeah, I think it really does depend on shading. I think there are some blue and green that you put together and you're just like, no. But, you know, it's the sky and the grass. It doesn't look completely awful. I'm trying to get these two little random, there we go, random colours that were staring at me. Oh, I did that one as well and I had more. Here's another one I missed some of. Panther Baby, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she's sorry that she's not chatted lately. She says she's had lots of issues going on. Ooh, it's always comes in bulk, doesn't it? It just tests your patience. She says a 24-year-old daughter deals with ADHD, Asperger's and bad anxiety. She said so she has to break things down into steps for her so that she doesn't become overwhelmed with chores that she needs to do daily. She says most of the time she seems to get in trouble for not getting her chores done due to